Welcome back to our discussion about HIV/AIDS on World AIDS Day, the 26th annual World AIDS Day, December 1st. And we're focusing on the theme this year, which is focus, partner, and achieve. And as we focus on achieve, I want to put a little context on this. So we're at a place in this country with 1 million, more than 1 million living with HIV, where over 2/3 of the infections are gay, bisexual men, where for a young black gay man in a major city, the chances are almost 1 in 2 by the time they're 50, they're going to be HIV positive. And we're seeing growing infections among young gay men. And so when you put all that together and think about, we start talking about an AIDS-free generation and the end of AIDS, but we're not there. We're not even close. And so I want you to help us lead this conversation as we talk about what do we need to achieve to get there?
Yeah, well, I think all of the things that we've been talking about, Michael, are part of that mix, right? One of the things that I noticed in the trans discrimination study that the task force did is that there were 10% of people did not know reported not even knowing their HIV status. Not only were the numbers of those who did know and were HIV positive 4 times that of the general population, but there were 10% of the respondents didn't know their status at all. So I think one of the things that is really critical for us is to make sure, what we did at Creating Change last year, to make sure that people get tested.
Right.
That we still have a long way to go to ensure that people actually get tested and know their status. So for me, I know people don't think about this all the time, and I know honestly a lot of lesbians don't think about this all the time. But it has been a wonderful thing to know my status, to get tested, and to be able to share with someone. I've actually gotten tested, and to say with them, do you know your status? Have you gotten tested? And to have to make it a conversation.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a critical, important step for everyone.
I think that's a huge step. I think the other part is, we're getting to a place where more and more people know their status. Certainly within trans women, we're not at a level we should be. Certainly among young MSM gay men of color, we're not where, but we're making progress. The other big gap where I think we just have to make up some space is getting people linked into care and onto treatment. We know treatment can almost, for a 21-year-old today getting on treatment, they can live as long as a life as someone uninfected, almost 51 extended years. We've come a long way and don't have people on treatment. And so I think part of that challenge, I think this is a community thing, is if we're not showing support for engaging in care, if we're not talking about HIV, if we're not letting people know we care how they're feeling and hoping that they've gotten tested but also gone and follow up, we're not going to get there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we have this thing that has happened many, many times before, and going back to something you said before around HIV and how we look at it in the LGBT movement, we kind of stop too quickly. We think we've got it, and I could see that in the 90s, just so much happened. We worked so hard, everybody was dying. It was a horrible time for our community in the 80s and 90s, but, I think we after that AZT period was just one, it was like, we sort of and that was abandoned ship. I don't know what we did. We just gave up too quickly.
I think partly, part of it was abandoned. The other part is we just sort of shut up and said we can live with this. We said we now have treatments. We're not looking sick. We're not falling over. So I can take my pills and I can live with it. But if we don't talk about it and if we don't change the cultural norms, we're doing nothing to help the other 2/3 know that they should get on treatment, that they're not alone living with their HIV and combating the stigma. And I think we've just let that go.
Well, what I'm excited about, Michael, is our partnership with AIDS United and the work that I see happening with LGBT organizations and across the movement where organizations and leaders are starting to really re-engage around HIV.
Absolutely.
I think it's really critical for us to engage it this way in order to achieve that AIDS-free generation. So I'm very excited about it. And one way that we've been doing that is at our conference at Creating Change every year. And so I'm looking forward to Creating Change 2015, which will be February the 4th through the 8th in Denver. And so I'm inviting everyone to come out and join us. I know you know this probably better than I do, but we're going to be doing an HIV/AIDS Institute, which is like a day-long around all of these issues, deep dive into the issues. So, Michael, I look forward to seeing you there, and I hope that everyone who's listening will come and join us there to learn more about HIV and AIDS and to have that conversation that you've been talking about.
I am so with you. And we're looking forward to it as well. I mean, I think this year was amazing to see such a focus on HIV and what people and moving the dialogue forward. Certainly that is a place we can move the dialogue forward, but I want us to end today with individual actions people can take. If we were going to ask people 3 actions, and we'll take turns, but what's the first one you'll ask of people?
Well, I mean, I'll go back to what I said before. Get tested.
Absolutely. And I think if we get up to 100% there, we will do great. I think for me, the second one really has to do with the speaking out. I just, as I've said, I've lived 20 years with HIV. It feels like it is so invisible. I can still to this day go to a bar, not as easily, but can still sometimes get hit on and still have someone freak out about the HIV status.
Amazing.
And we don't, as a community, talk about that. And I want us to, because it makes it easier for us living with HIV to be out about it, but it also makes those who aren't to support people with it. And I think that's the second action I would ask of folks.
Well, and then finally, I would say education. Learn everything that you can about
Absolutely.
HIV. And I would offer people to come to Creating Change 2015 in Denver, Colorado, where we will do a lot of education about
And let's
HIV.
give them a couple resources, starting with your websites.
Sure. Well, first of all, the Creating Change website is creatingchange.org, so please go there for more information about that. The National LGBTQ Task Force website is thetaskforce.org, so please come to our website and find out more.
And for us, you can check us out at www.aidsunited.org. And I want to end simply by saying thank you. For me personally, the task force has been an important part of my life for a couple decades, and both in my own identity as a queer man, as a gay man, but in my HIV experience. And you guys are fabulous partners, and I'm grateful to you for that.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank
It's
you.
so mutual. We're so glad to partner with you and with AIDS United.
Thank you.
Thank you.